Back on the show is Curtis Blaydes, who's coming off a TKO victory over Oleksiy Oliynyk at UFC 217 back on November 4th. Curtis, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's always good to catch up with you. And we got to talk about the finish of this fight. A lot of controversy as far as the ending and everything like that, but I wanted to get your side of things. For those who didn't see it, basically you grazed his ear, which, if it would have landed flush, it would have been illegal, but you grazed his ear. The ref stops the fight. What were you thinking at that time when this whole thing's going on and the ref steps in? Did you think you got a DQ? What was sort of your thoughts at the time?
I immediately jumped to the worst possible scenario, DQ. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I looked over at him and he didn't seem upset. So I'm like, okay, maybe he thinks he's going to win, which made me think I was going to lose.
Right. Have you ever had a situation like that before in a fight where there's a controversial ending? No?
I've never had that.
Yeah, it was an odd situation, and of course it happened in New York, which is kind of one of those commissions that's still kind of getting up to speed with things. But on the broadcast, they said that Oliynyk couldn't continue. The doctor stepped in. What did they tell you in the cage? Was it that he couldn't continue? That he had said that, or was that the doctor's call? What did they sort of tell you at the time?
I was only told that it was a doctor's stoppage, but then I did hear from other people that Oliynyk did say he couldn't continue, but he didn't give a reason why. They said it might have been a language barrier. I don't know.
Okay, interesting. Did the UFC talk to you after the fight about the finish and all that, or did they say anything?
No, I haven't heard anything from them specifically. No.
Interesting.
I hear from them.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance of a rematch? I mean, sometimes when these things happen, they want to do the rematch, but in other cases, it seems like they just want to move on from it and just forget it ever happened.
No, there's no need for a rematch, because I was going to finish him. Had it not happened, like if we can just do away with the kick and he just gets up, I was already thinking about how I was going to head kick him.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you look good up until the finish anyways. Just with that short period of time you did have in the fight, were you happy with how things were going?
Yeah, I was very happy. I mean, he kind of got me into the whole brawling thing. That's not usually how I spar. I never spar like that, but I don't know, just adrenaline, and he started hitting me. I was like, I'm going to hit you right back. And then, so besides that, I liked everything else, though.
Yeah, no, it certainly was good. And, you've been on quite the roll lately. I mean, the only loss you have in the UFC is to Ngannou. Do you feel like your career is kind of going how you wanted in the UFC? I mean, the one loss isn't a bad one. Ngannou's, potentially, he's got this big fight with Overeem. I mean, your record's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I wish I hadn't taken that loss. But to be honest, if I don't lose to Ngannou, I don't move down to Denver. I don't start going to Dwayne's and all these other great things that are happening. It probably don't happen. So, yeah, all in all, I'm happy with the trajectory of my career.
And I was going to ask you about that, heading into the fight. I know Muscle Farm, where Elevation Fight Team was, that no longer exists. What were you doing as far as training heading into the matchup? Where were you training at the time?
Oh, everything was the same. All we did at Muscle Farm was spar and wrestle. So we just brought the sparring and wrestling over to Easton's.
Oh,
that's
gotcha.
Elliot, he runs that gym. He's also our head coach. So we just moved. It was easier for the majority of us because the Muscle Farm was all the way in Aurora, which I don't know if you know about the traffic down here, but it is awful. So,
it's really bad? I didn't know.
I live on the other half of Denver, Aurora, on the eastern half. I live on the western half. So I don't miss having to do that because Easton's is right down the street from me. So it's a lot easier to get to practice. So everything was the same. I went to Dwayne's. I went to Easton's. I went to High Altitude. And I did my boxing with Benny at his gym, Vital Strength and Fitness downtown. So nothing really changed.
Gotcha. And was it tough at all with Dwayne, focusing on TJ's fight as well? Was he able to kind of split the time with you guys? How did that sort of work out?
He was here it was almost an every other day type of thing. But even when he wasn't here, he has other instructors like Paul Lucero. He's also an MMA fighter, and he's amazing. He's a purple shirt now, and I don't know if you know the scale, but purple is right underneath black and brown. So he's very good. I like how he teaches, just like Dwayne. So it was good. It's fine.
Now, are you in Colorado now, or are you back home in Chicago?
Yeah. I'm back in Colorado.
Okay, excellent. How's the weather right now? Because I know it's starting to get cold. I know here in Toronto, Canada, it's getting pretty cold too.
It's a little breezy out here. It's been snowing off and on, just light flurries. But the good thing out here is it's very dry as opposed to back home in Chicago where it's very humid. So the snow doesn't stick, and there's no like wind chill that like slices you open. You don't have to deal with that either.
Oh, that's a bonus of living there. What's been this past week look like? Have you taken some time off? I mean, you got the win. You're obviously in good spirits. Are you taking a little bit of time off and then getting right back into it, or did you go right back to the gym on Monday?
Actually, I got back from New York on the evening, like really late. So yesterday I didn't really do anything. Today I was just running a couple errands. I'll probably get back into it tomorrow. But I'll do a class. I'm not going to go hard yet, though. I'm just taking it easy for now.
Yeah, you should. Just ease back into it. You gotta soak this win in a little bit and enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When do you want to get back in the cage? Have you kind of figured that out yet? I imagine you're injury-free coming out of this one.
Yeah, there's no injuries. I'm looking at – I really want to go to England. I want to go to England or Ireland. I really want to do one of those cards. So I'm looking at February 24th. I know there's a card there. They just announced the Darren Till versus
Wonder Boy. Maybe I don't know if that's confirmed, but it seems like they have moved the card from Florida to England. So
I would love to get on that card. There's a couple European heavyweights, Tybura and Volkov. I think those guys are both really good, and it would be a really good test because they're both good strikers, a lot better than my last two opponents, I think. And I want to test my hands. I want to test myself. And I know if I have to, I can go to my wrestling because they don't have the jiu-jitsu that Oliynyk has. So that was one of the best things about being able to wrestle him. At first, our game plan was to not go to the ground at all the whole first round, but then it just happened, and I kept doing it because I realized he wasn't as strong as he looked in the videos and stuff. So I think my jiu-jitsu defense is getting better, and I know if I have to, I can take down really good strikers.
Good stuff. The Volkov fight might make more sense because Tybura is actually fighting Werdum on that Australia card coming up in a few weeks. So maybe that's the fight you want. Plus, Volkov, former Bellator champ, so there's a little bit of notoriety there too.
Yeah. Like I said, I respect his hands, and he's a tall dude. He's a big guy. He's not a small guy. He doesn't have it. I think we match up pretty evenly.
Last question before I let you go. What TV are you watching this week? I imagine you're getting a bit of time to kind of relax, take it easy. Are you been watching any TV this week? Any sports? Any Netflix? Anything like that?
Yeah, I'm watching The Walking Dead. I'm catching up on that. And there's a movie I'm looking forward to going to go see, Justice League. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming out. So
excellent. And also your buddy's fighting next Saturday, Jose Shorty Torres, or he's fighting on the Friday. He's defending his belt. I imagine you're going to be watching that on Fight Pass.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight. I know he's been putting in a lot of hard work with TJ and whatnot, and I know he's going to defend that belt. I'm not worried about it.
Good stuff. Well, that's quite the endorsement. Well, Curtis, I can't thank you enough for joining me after the fight. I really appreciate it. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
You can find me at RazorBlades265 on Instagram and on Twitter, and that's my Snapchat handle. And I'd like to give a shout-out to Iowa Bison. They actually just sent me a package today. I really appreciate that. 12 pounds of meat. That's what go get put to good use. And I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, Ear Splints, for the ear splint they gave me. Although I didn't have to use it after the fight, it's still just good to have it just in case you never know.